Hi, Larry. Hi, everyone. Hang on, guys. I'm just going to shut the office door.
Good afternoon.
Hi. How are we doing?
Pretty awesome. Just got back from a 73K bike ride.
Amazing.
Yeah, the sun was out.
Okay.
This looks very much like TELUS conference. The same platform, it looks like.
Could be. It's a pretty popular platform.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's definitely worth its weight in gold, especially kind of considering all the things that are going on right now. But okay. So everybody is muted except Jonathan and Jack Ross.
Do you want us to mute?
I don't think so. I think what I kind of want to do, as people start to enter in, we'll figure it out. But I think that what we should do is just keep it more of a conversation, right? There might be questions there. I mean, I don't definitely have all the answers either about all of the platforms and stuff. So I'd love to just have like a more kind of like conversation about it. We'll go through some of the tips and stuff that I know and that I've seen and that I've used as well. And then go from there. So I think we'll just stay unmuted. I mean, you can mute if you want, or if you've got to take a call or whatever. But we'll have a conversation today.
Excellent.
Yeah. We'll give it just a couple of other minutes until we have some people come in to the room, if that's okay. And I wanted to finish downloading.
Oh, there I go. It's Mary Carrier. Hi.
Hi, Mary, how are you?
Thank you. Can you see me too?
I cannot see you. You don't have your video on, but I can hear you.
That's okay. I'm happy with that. You know, you can. I've just been playing. This is Zoom. I've just been playing with this too.
Yeah,
because he needed to have breakout rooms, so we were testing it. You can have breakout rooms on this too.
Yes, you can. So I think we're technically in a breakout room right now. We're not in like our official kind of personal link for this account. We're in a room that's set up just for this session. And I'm pretty confident about that. Again, we're all learning as we go, right?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us. This is pretty cool. So it's the meeting room I was hearing you saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Zoom. I mean, I guess we can go ahead and get started. It is technically just after 1 o'clock. We have a variety of people popping in. Let me just set it up. You know what, we'll wait just a couple of more minutes. We have quite a few people that are still coming in, but we'll talk about Zoom in the conversation today.
Okay.
We'll just give it like just a couple more minutes, you guys, because I know a couple of you guys have come in. And you have the ability to mute yourself so we can't hear you. You have the ability to turn your video on or off. You can change it up depending on, you know, what you look at. Thanks, Mal. You know, there's a little chat feature down at the bottom of the box that you're looking at where you can, you know, chat either to one individual person that's in the room, or you can chat to everybody. Here, we'll do a everybody chat. You can see what that looks like. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. Hi, Gina.
How are you, honey?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Who's here with us?
We
Are we going
have,
to have a party today?
we are having a party today, yes.
This should be Thursdays.
So we just talked about this morning. So had one on the schedule, right, to do one next week. I can't recall what office we were supposed to do it at, but I think we should do a Zoom Thursday.
Yes.
I went with friends the other day out west.
Yeah, it's fun. It is. You know, nice to connect to everybody, right?
For sure.
Okay.
How do I turn the video on and off, Jen? Is that, start video?
Yep.
Oh, there I am.
Here's you, Miss
Now we
Tech
can
Savvy
see you.
Lady.
Hi.
There I am. I don't know.
Tim.
Yep, Tim is here.
So you guys want a State of the Union first, or what do you guys want me? What do you guys want to talk about exactly?
Tell us something smart and important.
Tell us something good.
Yes, tell us something good.
One of our agents sold a property for $100,000 over asking price.
What area?
Wow, yeah, where?
Oh God, I'm not smart right now. East York.
Oh, good.
Yeah, East York. So $100,000 over asking price. It did happen. There's quite a few multiples yesterday. I'm hearing to hear back from some of our agents as well. Primarily, there's a lot of concern, obviously, over showing property, virtual showings. Hence the conversation we're going to have today of how to possibly do these things in a better way. Also, primarily showings are still down. Listings are still coming in. We are venturing into a buyer's market right now, slightly more than a balanced market, into a buyer's market, depending on location. The furthest out you go from downtown Toronto, so it's actually dropped in downtown Toronto, and now the ripple is going out.
Yeah.
So right now, if you were to be in Brampton, Mississauga, and those areas, you're seeing what we saw 2-3 days earlier happening there. So they are primarily a few days behind us, not 2 weeks behind us, not 1 month behind us. They're just, it's narrowing down to just several days behind us right now. And they're starting to see the drop off in showings and the concern and everything else. We are an essential service. I mean, we've talked with Jen about this and Larry, and I've talked to everybody else. I don't believe we're essential compared to the people who are out there having to be in the front lines.
No.
I've been talking to a lot of different industries. There's a lot of ignorance out there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the ignorance is when you have a contractor that was going to do new washrooms at Bayview, call me up and talk to me about the great approach of him shutting down and keeping his employees safe, and having his clients screaming at him for not coming to start a new job. Especially when one of them got off a plane from Switzerland and said that I've zipped up the entire area. I won't be anywhere near my kitchen. You can walk in and out from the back door. Nobody will ever be there. And he's like, no, I'm not coming in your house. And she basically canceled the job. She sent the check for what's been paid for and said, I'm going to find somebody else to do the work for me. So there's a lot of ignorance out there, unfortunately, and we have to manage that ignorance. And
I think one thing too, on that same note, Tim, is the condo buildings are not, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The condo buildings, many of them, my clients included, are not allowing any renovations anymore. So where I have a closing coming up a week, actually Tuesday, Condo Corp won't allow the flooring people in to do the work before my clients move in. Yeah. And lots of them are going that way now.
And there are condo buildings that have stopped all showings altogether.
Yeah.
And the conversation right now, and I'll let Jen take this on before she takes this on, is to talk about the virtual opportunities that exist and what our agents are doing. But I sent out a memo just before this virtual Zoom meeting. I'm actually concerned about our own agents right now, towards how the staff is feeling. I understand you have to go in and pick something up and drop something off. Now is not the time to use our offices as a place to go to because you're tired of being home. Because if the staff don't feel comfortable in being in the office to answer our phones and to navigate through this, then we'll be forced to be completely remote, and we'll be forced to shut things down even further. So what I'm asking for all our agents is, they're not, they're in essence our front line. They're going in and they're answering the phones and managing our business from the back. They're being the backbone right now. They're being a tremendous backbone, but we shouldn't be going in. Let's try to communicate through FaceTime, through email, email things back. If there's a package, we get it, go to the back, like it's being put by your mailbox, go in the back, grab it, walk out the back. Let's not treat the office as a place to hang out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. It's tough, right? Like this is, none of us have gone through this before, but in order to remain here and to be safe, and I'm, talking to a lot of the receptionists on a regular basis, we're really, we want you to stay home, right? Like you need to stay safe too. And it's important to follow the guidelines of what we're being asked, right? At a bigger picture. Hence the reason we're doing this today, so that we can still support those people that do need to buy and sell, because I'm aware that there are clients out there that need to do that even while something larger is going on. There are many, many ways to do that from the safety of their home and your home, to keep everybody safe. So we're going to talk about a couple of those today. Now, I want to keep it open as a conversation, because I know that, I don't have all of the answers and all of the platforms either. So we're just going to go through some of the platforms that I know that we're using internally, that I've used in the past, that some of our agents have used, and kind of, how-tos, right? So first, let's start off with talking about the program that we're actually currently using. So,
sorry, Jen?
Yep.
Are you recording this?
Yep, it's recording.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Our account, just so everybody knows, our account is set up to auto record everything moving forward. So it's being recorded. So be careful what you guys say. Everybody's listening. So this platform that we're using is called Zoom. You can go to zoom.us. That is the actual URL. And you can actually make yourself a free account. And with your free account, you get up to 40-minute meetings. And I think that you can have up to 20 people in that meeting. So we obviously have a corporate account that is paid. So we're able to have a couple of people in here. But the beautiful thing, and it also, there's an app on your phone that you can actually have this. So I can see, there are a couple of people that are actually using their phone to join in on this conversation. So you can use this with your phone, and you could actually take this into a showing. So we're being asked by everybody, the government and the brokerage here and all of our governing bodies, to minimize our face-to-face communication. So if what you wanted to do was to book, a preview or a showing and go and have that, you could have your Zoom account open with you and your client and actually physically walk them through. I saw a couple people over the last couple of days actually do that, to do a showing. This is also a platform, we can take this outside of showings. Obviously, this is a platform to utilize for meetings, right? So any, buyer meeting, any listing conversation that you want to have, this would be a great space to do this. What I talked about yesterday, I know we're kind of going off of the topic of just showings, but what I talked about yesterday with one of our agents was actually hosting an info session. People are hungry for information right now. People have a lot of questions. Stuff is changing, so rapidly. This would be a great space for you to utilize to actually get some of your clients maybe together. and have a conversation kind of about what's happening in the market right now. Okay, so do I have any questions about Zoom, about the platform that we're using right now? Anyone?
And you need to unmute at the bottom of your screen. You'll see that there's a mute button on the left-hand side. You'd have to press that button to be able to speak.
Yeah, so
there's also a chat at the bottom of your screen where if you click on it, it opens up on the right and you can write down certain comments or questions, and we can all kind of interact that way as well.
Yeah, we did briefly kind of go through that right before you popped in, but I see that there are some other people. No, that's okay. See that there are some other people that are kind of like popping in as we go. So yeah, we can. Yeah, sorry.
I had a question. I was just wondering. So this piece of software, you've got an account for Remax Ultimate. So is that just for office meetings being held by you guys, or could we also use the same account for our clients, or would we need our own separate account?
You would need your own separate account because this one's branded as Remax Ultimate.
Okay.
The one that you want to use with your clients, Nick, is free. It's a free basic. You know, as Jen said, up to 20 people. You know, you're using it back and forth. Just to share with you, you don't have to use Zoom as a one-on-one, platform. You can use FaceTime if they're Apple users.
Right. Whatever.
Hangouts. There's Skype. And I can, when Jen goes further down, I can provide some insight of some of our agents, what they're using right now and what they're doing right now with actual showings to provide you some assistance as well.
Also, does anybody know what's going on right now with the photographers and virtual tour? I know that with the home inspections, Carson Dunlop is just shut down. They're not doing any more home inspections. So I think that's something that, would be good to know who is still doing them. And also, are people finding that they can still book virtual tours because they're more important than anything right now. And the 3D walkthroughs. I just checked a couple of listings this morning that have really good virtual walkthroughs.
Housemax, Housemax is actually still doing everything, but they're asking that no one be in the units at all.
Yeah.
So they have to have like full vacant lockbox, no other sort of like human contact whatsoever. And if they show up and the homeowner or realtor is there, they're implementing a $50 fee for that, and then they're just leaving and not doing it.
Wow, interesting. Okay, good.
Also, Home Launch is also doing that as well. They're with the same parameters, like Mallory mentioned, taking precautions, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, so nobody in the house, no realtor or homeowner, Daniel?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get the list, but yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to go on a listing appointment, and I was thinking about even having the seller not be in that space for 3 hours, and I'll just go in there and measure and do all my stuff and split, and then do everything else virtually.
Yeah, I think that would
this
be
whole 3-hour particles in the air thing, right?
Yeah. I think that would be best to kind of also just not only, make sure that everybody is safe, you're still meeting their needs as a client. And you're also meeting the needs of like what everybody is asking of us. So, no face-to-face meetings, all of that, right? So if we can minimize just that human contact. But Mary, I think that's a great question about home inspectors. Maybe that is like, a list that we can put together. I think we're definitely over the next couple of weeks. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but we'll definitely see a decline in the number of home inspectors, anybody else, right? Appraisers that kind of need to go out. So it might just be on a case-by-case basis that we are able to find companies to do that. But we also have to be careful, right? We have to be careful about the amount of people that are there and how we're really helping facilitate that in a safe way.
Yeah. So,
Jen, it's Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, guys. Photographers, I was just listening to my wife the other day. She was on the phone, and the photographers were telling her they're not going at all. If anybody's at that home, like you heard from Mary, same thing. They're turning around and leaving. So I think it's imperative that we obviously use common sense, and they want to protect themselves, just like we're protecting ourselves here at the office. And I think it's going to unfold as we go on over the next few days. You're going to start to see everything from the appraisers to the showings to, we have an inspection, for example, this Sunday on a property that my wife has. And quite frankly, thank God it's vacant, because just to access the house, you know, don't bring kids, don't bring that, as Tim had alluded to earlier a few days ago about that. I mean, all this is going to be evolving as we speak. But again, I like what Jonathan said. Go in, measure, tell them to get the hell out, and then we'll talk to them after, because that's the reality. Nobody wants to be there at all.
For sure.
So on the Zoom, Nick, to answer your question regarding Zoom, just so you know, guys, the only difference why the office bought the paid account for Zoom, it's because there is a time limit of 40 minutes for the free account. So most of our meetings run longer than 40 minutes, but any type of face-to-face meeting in between, you know, a few people wouldn't go past maybe half an hour. So we really encourage you, go claim your Zoom account, because you get the same functionalities that we're getting with the paid account. The only difference that we knew is the up to 100 people, more than 20, and then longer than 40 minutes. So for you guys, the free account should suffice. No problem.
Okay.
A question on that, comparing Zoom to Skype. I have heard that Zoom works better for meetings. Is that correct?
Yeah, Zoom has become the staple. So GoToMeeting used to be the champion of all these meetings. Skype being more of the consumer side of things, and then they ventured into the enterprise space. But the Zoom has taken over when it comes to and I mean, I'm sure Tim can attest to this. All the industries at the moment are using Zoom. I mean, a lot of other people are using WebEx, which is by escapes me right now. It's a popular company as well. There's one called WebEx, and then Jen has another list of a few others that I have personally.
Yeah, Mary, I honestly I wouldn't overcomplicate it. Like Zoom is very user friendly, whether you're on a phone or on your computer. It's free. You know, those are the 2 points that kind of check off my list, right? The other really great thing is that if you're doing a meeting with your client, Zoom has a great share screen feature. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys right now. So you can see that you could have any number of things on your screen. So right now I actually have what you were talking about earlier, a Matterport tour open on my screen, so that if I had a client that was interested in this particular listing, we could actually sit and walk through the property together, right? So I can say, here's the den, you know, it's got this lovely popcorn ceiling, really great staging, you know. So I can have this conversation with my client, even though we're not physically going to the property. We've got a pretty good idea of what this looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was done with that company called HouseMax. There are a number of companies that are out there. It was done when the seller was not home and the photographer was the only person that was there. But this is a great way to do a virtual showing, right? So whether you're a listing agent, you know, getting these done on your properties, or if you're a buyer agent, asking if there is this available, so that you on a one-on-one can go through this with your buyer instead of having, you know, the listing agent do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, an interesting question from there that I've been wondering about, because I'm about to show something today, I think.
Yeah.
What and they are, and it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Is there not one of the clauses, pre-printed clauses in the offer, where the buyer acknowledges having inspected or having been physically in the property? And what about the legalities of the buyer purchasing the property without actually having physically been present in it?
Yeah, I'll let Tim answer that.
So that's clause number 14 on the actual pre-printed offer form. Yes, that needs to be, if you're buying so there's two things here. You know, A, are you going to make the offer conditional upon viewing the property at some point? And that's my first recommendation.
Yeah.
Is that you are showing them the property through a virtual process, but you're including an actual condition that is conditional. I myself have been involved in sight unseen sales in my career, and I know that there's agents in our office who sold properties to overseas buyers sight unseen, and they've done it through a Skype before COVID-19.
Yeah, no, I know.
So we have to remember that there's always been sales before this, and it's just a matter that this has now brought every question to the forefront. So what we need to do is, if you're going to see the property sight unseen, you either scratch out clause number 14 in the pre-printed form that talks about seeing the property, and you actually add another clause in the actual Schedule A that they're not going to see the property.
Is that in one of our newly prepared clauses?
No, there are not any, because those, I don't, I've thought about it already, Mary. I don't see that as being a reality going forward. I'm more managing the urgent transactions that are in process right now. And we're not in a full-blown curfew lockdown yet.
No, I know.
If we were to go on a full-blown curfew lockout, then I will cross that bridge when I get to it. For all of you who know me well, they know that I don't live in the what ifs until I have to get there. Like it needs to, I think about them. I'm not ignorant to it. I just don't, even these COVID-19 clauses, I'm not a very big fan of. Okay, I'm just not a very big fan, because when the market went down in 2017 by 25% in values, that did not give anybody the reason to walk away from a transaction. And now we're preempting it with clauses all of a sudden. I really believe that, a lot of people are kind of jumping the gun here. There's already legal mechanisms. I've talked to lawyers. They're saying, geez, Tim, we're accepting these clauses, but there's already legal mechanisms in place if somebody can't see the house or something's going on for delays. And these are those circumstances in themselves.
Right.
If I can weigh in a bit there, it's Larry. Just to tag along with Tim, he's 100% right. Traditionally, the easiest way to get around this, Mary, is literally the clause 14, because really it relates to the fact that they've had the opportunity to actually physically go through the house. That's what that clause was all about. And we've dealt with this over the years with power of sales and so on, where they go, you got to buy it sight unseen. They just take out the word has not. That's the easiest way to do it and have it initial. If you want to add, as Tim said too, you want to add something else into the deal, by all means, go for it. But right now we're playing with a lot of uncharted waters here. So keep it simple, keep it straight. They don't get to see the home. Just go to clause 14, change the word not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And Mary, I think too, and I think it's important to just discuss that, trying to figure out ways to do virtual showings is not taking away from the fact that somebody still probably needs to see this property, but it is cutting down on the number of people that are going to be in there. Again, we're not on any sort of 100% government regulated lockdown. Hope not to get there, but really would like to keep people out of properties unless they really need to be there, right? So why not utilize something like this to make sure that it might be something that somebody actually want to seize and they might actually really want to buy, right? That's kind of my thought on it, and just to keep everybody safe, in this kind of critical period of time where we're trying to really cut down on human interaction.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Jen, it's Gina. I just have a question. So going back to the little virtual tour that you showed us a little while ago, this is not something that, generally speaking, when something's on MLS, don't they already have a URL attachment for that kind of tour? It's already there.
Yes.
So what, I understand the purpose of us doing it to stay connected with our clients, but why would our clients wait for us to do that when they have access to that already? It doesn't seem like it's anything new. In the beginning, I thought, wow, this is new, but it's not new. We've always had this. So I'm just wondering if I'm missing something, or if there's a way that I can present to make it look so unique. Because to me, from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look unique. They're already ahead of the game, my clients. And like, I'm talking even like they've seen the virtual tours. They do. I mean, now we have 3D tours, which is great too. I've just learned about those, but they already see that. So is there a suggestion about us being part of that? Is it just to bring us together with our client? Because to me, it makes me feel like a dinosaur if I'm suggesting this and they're already like, they've already seen it and been through it.
Yeah. So there's a couple of points there. Like, number one, yes, this is not new. Virtual tours, they're online already. Absolutely. I just think that the way that we utilize them in our conversations now needs to switch, right? So I've been, trying to work on a particular listing right now for the first time in quite some time. And it's also the most challenging time that we've all experienced as a whole. So, what we actually started to do was, okay, no showings whatsoever. We're not taking them, but we will send out the virtual tour link to anybody that books a showing, in the hopes that that buying agent actually sits down with their client, has a conversation, and walks them through the tour and what else might be going on, right? Like that 3D tour. So I just think that the way that we're using this technology needs to be changed. It's not just something that we're putting out there, that we're doing, as a service to our sellers, but we're actually bringing it into the buyer conversation right now. Does that make sense?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the other technology, and I'd like to have Jonathan speak on this one because he has one planned for this weekend. We went through a whole circumstance a week ago where the seller was completely unreasonable. She wanted the open house no matter what, and instead of dealing with it this week, he took, we talked about it, but I just loved his suggestion. He took the lead on this. He's doing, I'll let him explain, but a walkthrough tour, where he's going to be, Jonathan, you want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, I do like the whole, Matterport or whatever, or the old school, whoever used Bofi back in the day, where you had, which Jen just showed, the walking tour, where you click the arrows and walk through the house. That is one way of doing it. But another way of doing it is to have a videographer go in and do a 8-minute video and then speed up the reel by 30%. So you can actually walk through the whole place in a matter of 3-4 minutes. And including main floor, like the whole house, basement, and around the whole backyard, around the whole house. Well, maybe not around the whole house, but look at the whole backyard and the whole front yard. And that way gives the buyers a really good idea before they even potentially go there for a 15-minute showing or whatever the case may be. Versus a standard walking tour, versus a standard video tour, which is just, panning in a couple of areas.
But you're also talking through the whole process. You're actually.
No, I decided not to talk in it, actually.
Oh, you changed your mind. Okay. I like the idea of you talking through it.
Yeah. Why did you decide not to? I'm curious.
Because then you can't speed it up and you can't do the whole thing quickly. I mean, I could do an audio over maybe, but if I'm talking in front of it, I don't think people are going to take the time to watch the thing and meet, the video would just be too long, was just what I'm thinking.
Who did that for you? What company?
Ryan Bond. He's the guy at all of our events, actually, who does all the videography for Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
I can send you his info, Mary. I can post this information.
Yeah, and he already did the video tour on this property, but I'm having him come back to do this sped up walking tour.
He's very reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, very reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was if I can interject, Gina, what I'm thinking is as to why invest in things like Matterport. So I actually kind of touching this because I had that question this morning by one of our more of our old school agents, and it's the difference between a Matterport and a virtual tour, that has basically your basic virtual tour is a slideshow
Right.
put together of all the pictures, no different than what's on MLS. The difference with Matterport is Matterport gives you actually have imagine if you had actual like 3D like one of those virtual tour
Yeah,
goggles.
I have seen them.
You could see that. So they're basically set up there. What it allows you to is give a bit more spatial awareness compare us to, because a picture is two-dimensional, right?
Right.
So you look at a picture, you actually don't know how far the living room is from the kitchen because everything 2D gets flattened down and it doesn't give you that perspective. So what the Matterport does is give you a bit more insight onto the spatial awareness of the house. So that's why I would personally recommend investing in this time. Also, there was a video with Broker Bay yesterday, and they did not say that we're working with Matterport. But the funny thing is that as the owner of Broker Bay is talking about it, he had the Matterport tab open, so I'm sure it's Matterport that they're gonna go with. So they're actually gonna figure out a way to integrate Matterport into the Broker Bay sheet, so we'll actually give you guys another option to promote your listings in a different way, and in a way that makes sense for the season.
Okay, thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
A little side note as well, actually, I noticed so I use Housemax for ours, and when you're in a room, you can actually click on the walls and measure distances. So if people are walking through and they want to know how big a space is, you can actually measure it using the Matterport virtual tour.
And as you say that, for you guys that are not aware, Matterport, Housemax, they're not different companies. So the technology to do these 3D virtual tours it's a company called Matterport. It's actually a camera, and all different companies provide the same service. So Housemax provides the service, iGuide provides the service, most virtual tour, Home Launch, most of these virtual tour companies, real estate photography, that are kind of your one-stop shop, will provide the service. Now, I was trying to, again, I'm just making this note because I know an agent asked me this morning. It was like, well, I keep hearing Matterport, I keep hearing I keep hearing this. So basically, it's the same thing, just being provided by different companies.
Mm-hmm.
So Matterport is the camera.
Yeah.
The companies like iGuide, Housemax, Home Launch, all these companies bought that camera, and are preparing these videos.
Right.
But I also want to talk to you guys about, if you don't mind, is getting around the problem of not being able to get into houses. So we have a new listing. It's over $1.5 million, and the listing itself is occupied by tenants. And you're gonna, some of you are smiling at me. You can see each other smiling. What's going on is, how are we going to get a video when the tenants don't want you to be in their property? And it's great if the house is vacant, and it's great if these companies say, leave the house 3-hour window, sanitize everything, come back in after. But what if they don't want you to go in, period? What are you going to do? So the conversation I had with one of our agents was, does any of these tenants have a camera on their phone? Let them do a video and email it to you. Why are we going to be stuck with trying? We should not be forcing any appointments whatsoever. That's the furthest thing. That's the worst thing we can do. That's not what we want to do. People's safety is paramount. But have them do a video with their phone, as bad as it might be, it's still showing the unit for the time being. And going back to Mary's point earlier, we were discussing clause 14 with Larry too, is just make it conditional upon viewing, conditional upon seeing the property at some point. So make it a 1 week or 2 week condition if you have to, just to get in. And then use the same precautions that you would, wearing gloves, wearing protective shoes, having the gel, the sanitizer, the mask, the hat, whatever, everything that we're going to do to make somebody feel comfortable, we do that. Because again, there are people right now who are choosing not to put their homes for sale. Mm-hmm. They don't have to buy or sell. Mm-hmm. But there are people who really do have to sell. Mm-hmm. And there are people who really do have to buy. and there are people who really do have to rent. So business will continue to go on. It's just doing it the right way and not being stuck on just Matterport, for example.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of popped into, you know, kind of like, because you're right, Gina, like Matterport is not, this isn't new, right? This has been going on for quite some time. I just think how we use it and the language around it needs to change, so that we can, you know, have those conversations separately, or stay safer. Like video is not new. It's not something that, you know, like there's nothing new and innovative about it. But I think, you know, having the ability to have that video done and share it and talk about it in a different way is really, really important right now for the people that really do need to buy and sell, right?
Not anti at all. Like Mallory just made a really good comment, something I didn't know about the measuring. I think that's really good information. And the other thing I can see is, I think as realtors, and I went through this last night, but my client was looking at the same MLS as I was. We were doing it that way, something that she had seen. And as realtors, we look at properties differently than our buyers do. So I'll notice things that they won't notice. And I could say, well, look here, look there, you know, or, oh, didn't you see it does have electric heat? Like, you know, just, and that's what electric heat looks like. Cause sometimes they don't even know, right? You're dealing with millennials. They don't always know. So, and I have a pretty young clientele still. So it's, you know, it's to be able to speak their language and still have my knowledge and my skill behind me. So I'm not anti any of this. It's just like, how do I present
do it? Yeah.
in that way so that, you know, I'm no millennial, but I can speak their language.
Yeah, like them looking at that 3D tour or video tour or whatever it is by themselves is vastly different than you two sitting down virtually and looking at it and talking about it together, right? Because you're bringing up all of those points and you're bringing, you know, your education and everything that you bring to the table, right?
Now, one of the questions that I have for you, because this is very informative webinar that we're having, but are you going to have something later in the future? Are you doing it now to like, because I saw what you did, but I didn't see how you did it. I saw what you did, but I didn't see how you did it. So will we, or can we maneuver? Because I just got onto Zoom just like this week. So I've been having fun with it actually.
So you have an appointment tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we do, but but I was just wondering because I love that sideline because somebody already showed me and, you know, they were drawing a house and you can really have fun with that.
For sure.
You know, but also when you want to have a more serious note on things, like how do you present professionally and, you know, get the information across. So that's why I was just asking. I wasn't quite sure, you know, what the webinar was going to show or not show.
Okay, so hadn't planned on that today, but planning on doing something every Thursday in this time slot in this kind of like virtual season moving forward. So, you know, that's something that we can look at. I'm 100% okay to put, you know, something a little bit more kind of professional how-to together. Yeah, I think we can do that. And we can talk about that more tomorrow when we have our meeting, because we'll be able to dive in a little bit deeper, right? And that's what's been really good about that. For those of you that don't know, I'm doing like one-on-one virtual meetings. You guys did get a Broker Bay page about it, so that I can talk about your business and how some of this stuff can fit in specifically into your business. They've been really good conversations so far, but that's a really good question, and I think that we can do a kind of a virtual webinar just on like actually how to walk through a Matterport tour with your client. Yeah, or a video tour, whatever it might be. Yeah.
Does anybody want to know what other agents have done with actual visits they've been able to go into?
Yeah.
So there's been situations where an agent has been on Skype, FaceTime, or Zoom and went to the house on their own and walked through the house, and you're saying, well, wait a minute, it's a virtual tour, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It is different. Like they're together, they're walking through, they're doing that. It's that interaction. I mean, it's an entirety. It's how we use technology to connect now. It's not that it's not there. It's how we use it and how we, you know, come closer together closer and faster. So one of our agents went through 3 different properties and showed each property via Skype, and then got the client to go back because showings are still permitted, just didn't want to go out. Went with the one property went back to the one property with the actual client, did the agreement of purchase and sale, and it's done.
Mhm.
So it's just working around it and using technology.
So that's a good point. But I mean, should we be asking if anybody has been in the house within a 3-hour period? Because we're still dealing with this particle thing in the air. Like even if the seller happened to leave for the showing, you're still dealing with this particle issue.
So each and every single listing that's confirmed in our office right now has a memo attached to it that you are not allowed in the house and you need to sanitize, need to use a wipe on the lockbox and doors, do not touch anything. Every single agent gets that message sent to them.
No, I get that. But
And we're hoping that they are,
but
obviously.
do we now have to space showings out 3 hours apart from one another? Like, how do we sort that issue out?
So we haven't done, like, nobody's done that yet. That's
I'm
a
just
great
thinking
point.
out loud. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear it, but
That's a
nobody's done
really
that yet. Right now, there's no overlapping of showings whatsoever.
But where are you getting the 3 hours from? Because the particles are not airborne, they're droplet.
They are
And-
droplet, they're not airborne.
Are you meaning that the particles
I
will
thought it's particulates in the air that can be airborne for 3 hours.
No, it's a
they
droplet
rule
of
that out.
body
No,
parts,
it's on
On surfaces.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's no big deal.
Yeah.
on, sorry.
Well, use precaution.
That's solve that problem.
Don't lick the table.
We like solutions.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was something that maybe I didn't know. That's why
No.
I
Yeah. No.
But this is a fairly recent change, and that was what all the discussion with masks and no masks is about. They're saying, well, they're not airborne, so you don't need masks. I choose because what if somebody I was with, was a silent carrier and they coughed on me. So I'm only going out wearing a mask.
Yeah, but good luck if you have one or don't have one. If you don't have one, you can't get one. So that's another problem.
Try Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah,
Shopper?
I think,
Okay.
that
Shoppers Drug Mart
you're
behind,
non-mask.
behind the prescription counter. At least Shoppers at Avenue Road and Joycey has them behind the prescription counter. You might want to call them first. They have the N95s.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Everybody's
just
gonna run
touch
out
on
and go buy a mask now, Gary.
the technology standpoint, the virtual tours and the way that we're interacting, there really isn't like a list like this long. It
No.
really is what's already available to us.
Mhm.
And just wanted to provide some comfort around it. And the Matterport's been fantastic. I mean, the fact that you can measure, as Gina said, and Mallory shared with us, and Gina said, I just learned something. That's perfect, right? The other idea is having, even allowing tenants to do their own videos. Jonathan having the walkthrough. I still think having the agent talk through the walkthrough would be extremely valuable.
Yeah, I do too. I think that, if you've got the opportunity to be in your listing, on your own with nothing but your phone, you don't really need anything else to make a pretty decent video in this day and age. And having, you have some kind of communication through that. I agree, Jonathan, that sometimes, it is nice to just be able to look through. But it also is, it's nice to have your personality shine through too, depending on who it is that you're actually talking to, right? If you're sending this to one of your clients, that would be great to have you kind of walk through the property with your phone.
Well, I totally agree with you, but if you're having a videographer there with you, then you're having an issue with you being in the room with
100%.
and
I think
with that problem, right?
Yeah, I agree that right now probably isn't a time to be hiring a videographer and going to a property. That there might be an opportunity to do that down the line. But right now, you and your phone or whatever video that you have already done, I think is super sufficient. So I love that idea. The other thing too that I wanted to show you guys really quickly that kind of just sprouted into my world earlier today. I had not heard about this before. So I'm going to share my screen again with you guys so you can see what it is that I'm looking at. Oh, shoot. Now they're telling me to sign in. Bear with me 1 second. See, this is the downside of a virtual.
So Matterport is 500 $500 plus tax basically for photos and tour. Yeah.
That one that I got for that condo, it was like what, 150?
9, I think.
It's
with
not that much.
something.
House
No,
tax is a lot
I'm
cheaper
looking
than
at-
that.
I put in a detached house that if you include the basement, you're looking at, 5,000 square feet, and therefore it's $500.
Oh, it might
that's
be for a
actually
big
right.
property.
Sorry.
Based on size,
Yeah,
right? So that makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. No, I'm just
'Cause I was
tossing
quoted
out.
like 100 and something.
So that would
But
be
I
a
had a
condo.
smaller house.
Okay. And then do you go with photo? I mean, you obviously get photos at the same time. So you're dealing with a 3D tour and an HD photo package, right?
Well, there's different packages, right? So this one would have been separate for me because I already had my photo package done.
Ah, got it. Okay.
So I got my slideshow done, my photos done, and my feature sheets done. And the company I was working with didn't have that particular camera.
Right.
So I went to House Max to
Got it.
find out about it.
Well, just as an aside, I got a HouseMax. I got an email from HouseMax last night. I was just reviewing it again. They're not doing condos at all anymore.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, so they sent out an email last night. Hold on. And they're not doing, it came in at 12:01 a.m. yesterday, I guess. And
They're not doing condos at all?
well, let me just read. I sort of didn't. Thank you for being.
How can
We
you look
will
at
not serve the condo market / the condo / apartment or any type of central managed properties for the next 2 weeks. This change will not affect existing orders. They just started up a home staging business, and they're not doing that. And then number 3, they go on to reiterate what's already been discussed in this meeting about vacant properties and the owner can't be there, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So- Can I aside from, so I mean, we're going to have a dwindling list, unfortunately. It'll be a tighter market for a period of time. I also wanted to share another opportunity that exists out there. The technology is here today. This would be great if somebody wants to do staging. There is virtual staging companies that exist in Toronto right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
So Wow, is it Rent Wow? I believe, remember?
Yeah.
Rent Wow is one of the
Yeah.
staging companies. They have a wing of virtual staging as well.
Mhm.
So this might be, a short-term window where that might be something that can be done for a home.
That's
I don't know
that's
how
for
they
the
do it.
photos.
Pardon me?
That would be to mock up the photos, the virtual staging.
It's
Yeah.
virtual staging. So basically, they have the software to take all the furniture out of the house and put furniture in the house.
But that's strictly for photos. It wouldn't be for
Yeah.
video, yeah?
Strictly for photos.
Yeah, I don't think you can virtual edit.
No, it's
video.
strictly for photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
OTBX Air is doing, I think they're doing a discount on their virtual staging right now.
Who's that?
OTBX Air.
OTBX
BX Air. I
Okay.
saw that they were doing a promotion for virtual staging. Obviously, again, given the season we're in, it'd probably be a little bit better to go with the virtual staging. But one thing that I just wanted to show you guys really quick before we head out, I'm going to share my screen with you. This, and I don't know if Daniel, you've heard of this before, or Rebecca. This is called Quick Page. You guys see my screen? There's a bald gentleman with glasses.
Yeah.
This is Fred. He's an agent in Milton. He does one of these for every single one of his listings. And he, obviously you can see doing a social distance virtual showing page. And I'm going to hit play.
Hey everybody, this is the social distancing page for 349 Cedar Hedge in Milton. If you use the blue arrows to the left and right just below, you can scroll.
So you can scroll through different videos. So you can upload different videos here for the property. You can tell he's doing it selfie style. So every single one of them, well, this one might be propped up on something, but have just been done with his phone. So yeah, have you heard of this, Daniel?
I have not, but I am quickly going to learn it.
Yeah, I really love it. Look, you can put in floor plans.
So it's.
Can you play one of the videos, please?
Yep.
Hey guys, it's Gabriella from the Fred Helps team. Just out and about with our dog Henry on this beautiful sunny Saturday in the Clark area, which is where our latest listing is located, 349 Cedar Hedge. We are here up the street at Cedar Hedge Park East. We are going to make our way over to the dog park in a few minutes, which is just across the road. This area, guys, is just a really, really great area.
So I think you get the kind of gist there. That was obviously like some kind of neighborhood video.
This
This
one in
looked
the
like,
house that she was doing, Jen, that we could just have a quick look?
which one?
Did she do one in the house by any chance?
I would assume that this might be.
Quick look.
Hey everyone, Fred, why don't you tell them about our new latest listing?
We are at 349 Cedar Hedge in Milton. It's a beautiful Energy Star certified home. It's a Nobleton model, 3 bedrooms plus a loft upstairs, makes it easy to convert to 4 down the road. Nice upgrades inside, top to bottom. This is the place to be. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the area?
You know what? I will.
The Clark neighborhood is in a
Okay, so
wonderful
this must be a
community.
professional
Great
video
place
that
to
they have
raise
here.
your
Yeah.
kid.
Oh,
You will
I have a question
access
for you,
plenty
Jen.
Yep.
What's the difference between this and Bomb Bomb?
I don't think Bomb Bomb has the ability to like play multiple videos like
Within
this
one
does.
minute?
They might.
This is
In
different.
terms of being
Yeah,
able
it is
to.
different.
Yeah, you see how like if you go through these arrows, you
Yeah.
can click through multiple videos.
Right.
So this would help Daniel, right? With somebody like if you don't know how to edit, which a lot of people don't, you could just do the video, put it in here, and then go through. This is new, guys. We'll look into it. This was sent to me this morning. I thought it was
This
really,
looks
really
really
cool.
interesting, Jen. If you could look into that a little bit more, that would be
Absolutely.
great.
So it's
This
about
looks like fun and interesting.
Yeah,
it's
so-
$30 a month. I'll send you the link on the chat, you guys.
Way cheaper than Bomb Bomb.
I think one of the things that I see this to be beneficial for as well, if we could even just send this out to clients, just in general, it gives them a feel like, okay, yes, it's not business as usual. It's
Yes.
business very differently.
Yeah.
But there's still options, and it gives us an opportunity just to touch base and say, hey, just want to let you know.
Yeah.
So that they don't lose sight of you completely. Like, that's why I like that. I'm looking for ideas where my clients won't lose sight of me. And, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure like I'm inundated with emails right now from every single company. And, you know, yes, I appreciate them, but I like good stuff is getting lost in my inbox.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to send anything like that's, I want something to stand out a little bit, just to say, hi, how are you doing, kind of thing. But, you know, like I said, maybe it's not business as usual, but this is what's been happening, or this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So just something like that.
So Gina, are you using any video tool to do that, or are you just responding via email?
With my clients?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do a video. I'll do like, you know what, a little short, but a short one, because I find where I have a real problem is that if my video is like on my camera or on my phone, like more than 1 minute and 30 seconds, I can't send it to them.
Yeah. So,
and that's where I have the problem. So I get discouraged.
Absolutely. So, you know, the videos that Tim's been sending out, all the updates kind of over the last week or so, he's been using a program called Bomb Bomb. I'm a big fan of it. It is an awesome program to use, and you can use it within your email and it takes up no space. So, you know, you don't have the gigabytes there. Now there is the thing about Bomb Bomb, everything else that we've pretty much talked about aside from this quick page is pretty much free. Like FaceTime, you've already got on your phone. I guess Rebecca was telling me that Google Duo is the FaceTime for Android phones, which is a free thing as well. Zoom, you can create a free account. Skype is free as well.
WhatsApp,
Yeah. Sorry, Daniel.
WhatsApp is a good option for
WhatsApp too
for Android users as well, because Google Duo, it is good, but people are not familiar with it.
Yeah.
But WhatsApp allows you to FaceTime the same way FaceTime would work out.
Yeah.
That's one option. The other one is if you do have an iPhone, the iMessage does allow you to send big files. If you're Gina, I think because I was just kind of listening to what you were saying about kind of fatigue in this season, which all the stuff that you're trying to learn is like start with what you can.
Yeah.
Start with, if going through something like QuickPage or Bumble might be too much, start there and then work your way up, and then get familiar with it, because it is crazy out there. A lot of people are trying to capitalize too, and
Sure.
into this moment.
Yeah, be very aware as well. I mean, messaging that we're having within our own team is also trying to protect all of us, all of you, from in fear. There's other opportunities people seek, right? So don't be victim to those as well. This is the best tour, the best technology, the best this, the best that. If you don't do this, it's going to happen. But the herd mentality is also very dangerous. I mean, today I'll be candid with everybody. We've been talking the last 3-4 days about a message coming up from Remax Ultimate, and my comment back was every single message has been, "I'm your real estate agent, and I'm here to walk you through this." And that's not the message I want. We have to deal with how people are feeling first of all, not about real estate. It's folks, put it this way. How many of us have dealt with all our clients saying, "I want to wait 3 months" in our career? All of us have. How many of us have thought January 1 we're going to have, the next month is going to be just gangbusters, and it's not, right? How many of us have had, clients change their mind completely? Many of us have. So we got to treat it that the business is here, but it's just going to be done later. And right now it's an emotional shock. And for those of our clients who don't want to buy or sell or feeling anxious, need a calming, sincere voice. We have to be there for them. And when they talk about real estate, yeah, I get it. We'll wait 2 months. I think it's not the right time for you right now. And let's talk about life. Let's talk about how are the kids. I mean, in my household, I'm dealing with kids who have anxiety. So it's a natural thing right now, right? We got to work with that. So messaging has to be very, very sincere, or don't message.
Actually,
Daniel, you got to do a little bit at a time.
Got a great idea for everyone. So I actually sent out a nice sweet letter to all of my advocates with packets of vitamin C for all the family members in the mail. And it's just a beautiful message. It just says, like, we're here for you. We're thinking about you during this challenging time. Here's something to boost your immune system. If you need anything, we're here to help. And because so I actually sent that out to 56 families, something like that. And that went out yesterday. I didn't do it. My assistant did it. So, but yeah, it was all handwritten. So it's nice.
Great.
I got a feeling that's going to be a good response.
Yeah.
And Gina, that was an idea from Michelle.
I was wondering, yeah.
Tim, I have a quick question if I can ask.
Yeah, go ahead, Elma.
Hello, everyone, first of all, and I hope you're all staying healthy and safe. I'm actually going to be using Zoom Party on Sunday. I have a buyer's visit that's scheduled for a closing that's to happen next week. The sellers are, they've self-isolated because the woman is expecting, she's pregnant. My buyers would, of course, rather been there personally to see it, but we all agreed we'll try this Zoom thing. Do you recommend, are there any clauses that I can put down for my buyer, because they won't actually be there for the last buyer's visit, and they're a little worried that, although the seller will take us through, there could still be things that they won't show us?
I mean, they do get the keys at, let's say, 5 o'clock, and they do have until midnight to document any issue. But then you're talking about small claims court, possibly. So,
99.99% of the time, Elma, there's nothing found to worry about. It's because they can't physically visit, is what they're feeling, and this is where your calm voice plays a big role. And your voice as well in the Zoom video would be, can you please take me a little closer to that corner? Can you please take me a little bit, could you take me down that hallway again? Right? Like, you need to ask the questions during the video and say, hey, listen, we're not trying to be difficult. Obviously, if you were there in person, it'd be a lot easier. We really appreciate you doing this for us. We understand the circumstances. Can you please take us back to the basement again? I want to see something, or, you know, a little higher or lower. Like, just got to work through it. I mean, this is, you know, we are involved in over 3,000 transactions a year, not this year, but, you know, typically we are involved in over 3,000 transactions a year. And I will tell you that I can't remember the last time that I received a call as a broker that something was, you know, this problem happened, you know, where they needed our involvement whatsoever after closing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I have done the best I can to reassure my buyers everything will be fine, but they're still a little weary about it.
And they will be.
Understandably so.
Alma, you won't remove that feeling whatsoever. I promise you that. It's not going to happen. It's just kind of being a voice, and I don't want to use the word pushing. Just communicate highly during the video. Whatever they want to see, whatever they want to walk down virtually, let them do it. Mm-hmm. And to Jonathan's point, you know, there'll be keys in the lockbox for them to go and look at right at the time that it's closed, and they should go right away and take a look at everything.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And usually if there is an issue where there's like debris left or a bed that's left or something, and you message that listing agent, the seller typically will take care of that before midnight of closing or the next day, or acknowledge that they're going to take care of it.
Yeah, let's just hope that kindness prevails during these tumultuous times, and sellers treat buyers as they would want to be treated on the other side. Mm-hmm. And typically, I've always made that comment to every single one of my clients. You know, let's leave the house as you would want to find the house that you're moving into, please. I mean, it's a very, very tough time. And you know, when you put that kind of weight and pressure on people, they dig down deep and they find that opportunity to be kind. So. Mm-hmm.
And Alma, I think too, you know, the fact that the sellers are willing to do that Zoom meeting with you and to do that walkthrough is, like, that's very telling of the seller themselves, right? And, you know, you can communicate that to your buyer. And I have a pretty good feeling that, you know, yes, you might be anxious going into it, but the way that you help carry through that meeting and that walkthrough will mean everything to your buyer. And hopefully that can squash that anxiety that they might have there.
Great,
Jen,
thank you.
Jen, may
Thanks,
I weigh in?
Everyone stay healthy.
Sorry, Larry, if you don't mind. Alma,
sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
During the video, ask for the kitchen fridge to be opened.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Make sure the lights are on.
Dishwasher.
Right? Think about the things that you'd want to see. You know, could you turn the tap on, turn the tap off? Right. Like whatever you would do if you were there personally. Apologize in advance.
Yeah.
And just walk through it.
Thanks, Tim.
If I can just digress for 1 second, I'm going to give you an example. This morning when I came into the office to get set up for a few things like this, I received a call, and interestingly enough, it was about a RE/MAX deal. And a wonderful thing was it wasn't our deal, but somebody had got through. And here's what it was. They were complaining, and this was a buyer who bought a home, and she was freaking out. Obviously, I'm not going to interfere with somebody else's contract, but what I'm trying to make a point of here for all of us to remember, you have to communicate with the buyers and sellers. And I know it's not the people that are on this line now, but just in general, they're scared. She was panicking, and I tried to calm her down just because I felt sorry for her on the phone. But I'm telling you, it was all about, and she made a complaint about the agent. And she says, they don't call me back. I'm really worried. And, you know, and I go, absolutely understandable. I mean, but the reality is we have to, even if we pick up the phone, just say, I understand it's a bad time. We get it, but let's just be patient and proactive and positive about what we're going to try to do. And we're learning on the fly, as we all know that. Tim's alluded to this. Jen's doing this. Even this whole vibrant thing that we're doing today is just to show you that a lot of this is not new. It's just that it's another added value that we're going to put in to our portfolio as reps out there to say, yeah, we've done that. And we're going to do it again in a little different format. And Jen's doing a great job trying to get this together. It's awesome. We have a team that's trying to work together to see what we can come up with everybody. And quite frankly, I know Tim, Jen, myself, we're always open to suggestions. You got something new on the horizon, somebody comes across something, we're always willing to listen. And Daniel and Rebecca, everybody. So again, just a special note, just that communication, if you don't mind. We really do need it with these clients.
One thing I'm thinking is, this walking tour. Do you think we should keep it where you put it in the brokerage remarks? If you'd like to see a full walking tour, please email the listing agent to get a copy, so that we actually can track who might actually be interested in the property, or just make it public?
Again, I'm not sure what the right answer is. I can tell you what I did. I mean, I don't know if you need to be tracking who checks your walking tour more so than has real interest in your property. So instead of, for everybody that books in for an actual showing, the confirmation showing they're getting is the link to the tour now. So we'll be tracking it that way. I don't know if that helps at all, Jonathan, but
no, I mean, also at the end of the day, if they're going to get the place, they're going to want the home inspection. But if it's condo, that's different. But
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Don't worry. Cool.
You guys, anybody have anything else?
Just on what you said, Jonathan. Lastly, I'm putting a link on the chat. Oh, sorry, not that one. 1 second. There's a little company called Snipply that you can. So, for example, let's say you send out publicly, but you can create a post through this Snipply. I believe it's free for like one call to action. You can actually add a call to action to any page that you want. So, for example, if you have your walking tour done on YouTube, you go on Snipply, you add that YouTube link, and then it gives you a Snipply link, which is your YouTube link, but with a call to action on the actual thing. So you can actually have it publicly, but it is like your face on the bottom corner saying, hey, do you have any questions about this property? Drop me a line right here. And then people can click that, and then it's trackable through the page, and it gives you email responses.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
you upload your video tour, and then they have an ability to prompt.
No. You if it's just a YouTube link, just grab the YouTube link, and then it tells you how to do it, but basically it overlays a call to action onto whatever page you're sharing. It's also a great tool for sharing stuff on social media if you're sharing articles and things like that.
What would the call to action be? It would be like,
you could say like,
want to book a showing, or what would the call to?
Yeah, I'll say, do you need more information about this property? We're here to help. Would you like to see an in-person? Yeah, like an in-person.
And that overlays on top of YouTube.
It overlay it into whatever website you're putting on. You just put the link to that website, and then it gives you a link to the same website, but with the call to action overlaid on it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think you can do it for free for one call to action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take.
No problem.
Awesome.
Hey guys.
Okay, guys.
Be safe, be healthy.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Watch for more. Talk to you soon.
Chat soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.